Greeting from Monsey, New York. We are in the 8th bracha, Refo'einu, and the introduction to the bracha in the Siddur Yom Tefillah, in the Siddur, what's that, Tefillah's right? That the name of the Rosh. The Rosh writes that the 8th bracha is Refo'einu, and it corresponds to that which Malachim said, Bruch Atah Hashem Rofechu Le'amo Yisrael, when Refoel healed Avraham Avinu after the bris milah, and it is the 8th bracha because the milah was given on the 8th day, and milah requires refuah, and therefore it was embedded in the 8th bracha, and not beyond that. Also before the 8th bracha would not be appropriate because not necessarily because it's before the Zman of bris milah, he says, but rather because first you have to have geula before you have refuah. He brought down the pasuk in the previous introduction. What was the pasuk? It was not a pasuk. He said previously, it's better to say geula immediately after slicha than refuah because geula only comes after slicha. After slicha, refuah comes any time. I thought there was more than that, but I guess I'm misremembering. Anyway, so before the okay, and the Seder Hayom, who, if I recall correctly, is a Rishon, writes that the refuah is placed after Geula because anytime a person is in anguish, he's not. Anytime he's in anguish over something, not necessarily physical, he doesn't have his full health and his full strength, and we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he should heal us with a full healing, in order that we should be healthy and strong to be involved in the Torah properly and to keep all the mitzvos. So obviously, if we need a geula in order to relieve our anxiety, if we're not going to be nigal, if the 7th bracha is not mekuyem, certainly then we need the 8th bracha to tell us, well, please heal us because we're in a state of constant anxiety because of the goals in which we find ourselves. Then we have the Machzavitri, that not from Machzavitri, but the Kobo, that this bracha has 27 letters, 27 words. Therefore, you shouldn't say Refo'einu Hashem Elokeinu, or only Refo'einu Hashem and Ne'rafei, and that is also the Rashi Tevos. Reish Yud Vav is the Shem Shel Ayin Beis, the 72-letter name of Hashem, because we know Rashi says it's actually 72 times 3 letter names, of which Ani and Ho Vaho are 2 of them, and therefore it corresponds to, I guess, the ultimate Chesed, the 72 names of 3. So therefore it is the ultimate source of refuah. But he didn't explain why 27 specifically. I guess because Zach, to purify, is a form of healing. Perhaps something along those lines. Delio Rabbah says that the Rambam does bring out the word Elokeinu, but he leaves the word Melech. Instead of Kel Melech and Rofei Neman Rachmanata, he has Kel Rofei. So therefore, if that's the case, we're back to 27 words. He would say Refo'einu Hashem Elokeinu. He also brings down by Vudram that writes in the Bracha Atah Kadosh that the chasima of the first 3 brachos alludes to the avos and their significance. So therefore, it mentions Melech in those brachos, but not in other ones. And the chasima Melech and Melech Tzokar Mishpat, that's something else. That's an allusion to David HaMelech. As it say, and it's a remes. Suppose says that David Vasisi L'cha Shem Hagdolim B'Shavaretz. Going to make your name like the great ones in this earth. The avos is just like the avos. On account of their chashivas, we mentioned Melech in their Chasimas Habracha. Again. with first bracha is Melech Ozer Moshiach Magain. Second bracha is Melech Menisam Chayeh. Now, Kadosh, there's no, the rest here, it's only a Kel Kadosh, but John says Mechuva, it's HaMelech HaKadosh. And now Melech in Sukkah Mishpat, which appears both HaMelech in Sukkah Mishpat and HaMelech HaMishpat, refers to David, like the first three refer to the three of us. So this is clear that we don't say the Chasima, which is not the end of the bracha, but immediately adjacent to the end of the bracha, Melech, except for the first four brachas. And that is the end of the commentary of the Levush, the Akdama in the Hotzot Tfilos. Now to the text of the bracha itself. Refo'einu Hashem and Refo'einu, Hoshienu and Yivashea Kiso Seinuata. So Refo'einu Hashem, if you heal us, Hashem, then we are truly healed. Obviously, if a basar b'dam heals us, that's not necessarily true healing. So therefore, we're asking that Kodesh Baruch Hu be the one who heals us. And the here brings down in the Eitz Yosef. The Zohar Chodesh Seder Balak says brings down the pasuk from Yirmiyahu, which says Refo'einu Hashem ve'erofei, which is the source of Refo'einu Hashem and Erofei. Yirmiyahu Zayin Yudalid, and he says, why does it say? Once it says Refo'einu, why does it say also Erofei? Because since it says Hoshieni, the similar idea, it says Hoshieni v'Voshea. Why? Evidently the same pasuk from which this parallel is taken. Same idea. Why? Well, it's Hoshienu v'Voshea. The next couple words in the pasuk. So he says the things down here from the Zohar. Kol asvasa de alma biyad the kuchabrichu. All healing in the world is in the hands of Hashem. But some of them happen through a shliach, through a doctor. Some do not happen through a shliach, but rather Kodesh Baruch Hu himself. In this mesur biyadad shlicha asvasinu. Those which are bestowed through the vehicle of human intervention by shliach, they are healings, but eventually those illnesses will come back. But those are Kodesh Baruch Hu heals. That illness does not come back to the world. And this is because he has no shortcomings. So therefore, there is no shortcoming. So the Refo'einu Hashem and Refo'einu is the definite refuah, as opposed to a refuah which is in doubt or perhaps even temperate, like a refuah done by a basar v'dam. The reason why we changed those to the pasuk, if it says Refo'einu Hashem and Refo'einu, the pasuk say Refo'einu Hashem and Refo'einu, is because all of tefillah is for the rabbin. None of tefillah is for the yachid per se, except for the last paragraph of Elokai Netzor. Otherwise, everything is meant to be barabim, because we're supposed to daven not for ourselves, but rather for all of Klal Yisrael, of the world, and we should be call ourselves within the other nitzrachim, who and not focus on our own selves actually, but focus rather on the world and what the Tzorach HaRabim is. Okay, so back to the text. Kis l'seinu ota. So Refo'einu Hashem and Refo'einu is heal us. Hoshem and Yivashea is save us, and then that should be true salvation. Now, Refo'einu is from a makkah, from a wound, of some sort, which caused an illness, either with the wound or without the wound. Hoshem and Yivashea seems going on difficult situations. The person is in a dangerous situation, so we ask Kodesh Baruch Hu also. That's a kind of refuah to save us from our difficult and dangerous situations. Kis l'seinu ata, this interesting language, because you are our tehillah, because you are the entity which we praise. So it's unclear what exactly, to me at least, it's unclear how that is a logic to explain why Hashem should be merape us. And so the Iyun Tefillah says, since we take glory in you and say you are our Moshiach, Therefore, it's appropriate for you to deal with us yourself directly and with your honor, but shlichim. In other words, that since I'm myself Mishabech Kodesh Baruch Hu directly, so therefore Mida K'neged Mida Kodesh Baruch Hu should heal us directly. Then we finished, here people insert a Yiratzon if they want to for somebody specific. And Elio Rabbah says, "V'mispal milfonav ein tzorich lezkir shmo." The ill person is in front of you. You don't have to mention their name because it's understood that you're davening for that person. It's based on some Gemara somewhere. And then we say Kikel Melech Refo'einu Ne'eman V'Rachman Ato, or just Kikel Refo'einu Ne'eman V'Rachman Ato. So this Achri Shalom says it's the true doctor, when he knows that the healing of a sick person will come through great suffering, such as an amputation. He doesn't care. He's not concerned with the pain and the suffering of the sick person. Only and even if he cries and pleads before him, he won't pay attention. And it's not considered to be cruelty by the doctor. On the contrary, it's rachamim that you should proceed with the procedure, even though it's painful for the patient. Because it's on account of his pity on the sick person who he wants to heal, he's willing to bear this anguish, even to hear himself being shouted at, and even to bear the patients being shouting and screaming in pain. And he causes him more pain in order to help him out of his illness. So the midah of Abba Kodesh Baruch Hu is also that he is mitztayer, he himself is tzar, so to speak, with the yisurim of Adam, when a person is mitztayer. Like the swing down, Shinam Omeres, when a person is suffering, the Shekhinah says, "What am I? Kolani Moroshi, Kolani Mizrahi." I'm suffering from this as well. Nevertheless, even though he knows that there's tzar, he knows that the suffering also are for the good of the nation. So therefore, he heals us with that suffering. So that is called a Rofei Ne'eman. He's Ne'eman to the purpose of, he's trustworthy to the purpose of healing his patient. So you want to say you're Ne'eman in that you want, it's kind of like, because Baruch took the Hippocratic Oath, and therefore he's Ne'eman to want to heal. And V'rachamon, he is in discerning that we are suffering. And also the opposite. A human doctor that knows that the patient is supposed to be healed with bitter herbs and with his drinking bitter potions. He doesn't have the capacity to, or he shouldn't have the capacity, to have Rachmanis on the chayla and not give him the medication because it hurts. Because that's the way it goes. He has to have the hurt in order to heal the illness. But Kodesh Baruch Hu has the power to heal a sick person however which way he wants. And without any necessarily medications, he can even by his word heal people. So therefore, Kodesh Baruch Hu is called the Rofei Ne'eman, the Rachman. Rofei wants to heal and is merciful in his healing. That even he is, even though he is a Rachman, in that he doesn't to pamper the sick person, rather gives him the full the 9 yards of difficult treatment. Nevertheless, that is the doctor's trustworthiness in terms of his profession, that he is willing to do these things in order to bring about the refuah. And Baruch Atah Hashem, Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael. Obviously, it's part and parcel of this idea of Shevach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he provides the refuah for each one of us. Okay, I think that will do for this evening. Tomorrow night I'm going to be able to make it because I have a long parent teacher conference, but Wednesday, Mir Tashem, we should go on to Refo'einu. Have a good night. Oh, and I want to tell you that a very interesting Sefer Chassidim I saw today, but I have to remember to do that. Okay, take care. Good night from Muzzy.